Like we actually had this email come in a little ways ago from Matthew. And, you know, he said, I'm so glad I came across this podcast. I love the clear and objective message and the actionable advice each episode. I've been listening for the past 6 months or so. I also took the FI 101 course and enjoyed it. And then he said, I have this question that has been puzzling me regarding financial independence. How do you retire early if you cannot touch retirement accounts until you reach age 59 and a half? Are people taking distributions and paying income taxes and penalties, or investing in taxable accounts and making distributions from those instead? Real estate income, dividends. And then he says, next, is it possible to achieve FI only by having retirement accounts, basically? So, I mean, Jonathan, that is just a series of incredible questions. And it's around this larger issue of, okay, I hear what you're saying. I really do. But there's still just this huge glaring hole for me of like, how am I going to access this money if you're telling me to load up on my 401ks and IRAs that I theoretically can't touch until I'm 59 and a half?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question, and hopefully we'll give you at least the beginning of a great answer on this one. And it's like threefold. There's 3 different ways to look at this. The first one and the most obvious one is that early retirement, or getting to financial independence early, almost by definition, well, it does. It absolutely encompasses regular retirement. So you're going to need money now and you're going to need money later. And since we know we're going to need money later, let's go ahead and fill up all the buckets where we can make sure the money starts working for us, as much as possible. So the way taxes work is you earn the money, the government gets their percentage, and then you get the remainder unless you take advantage of buckets or advantage vehicles that will allow you to get around that. And so we always try to max out our 401ks, especially as we start getting in these higher marginal tax brackets. Brad's an accountant, so I'll let him come back to that definition as the terms. But as the government starts taking a higher percentage, we have more of an incentive to hide that or shelter that from taxes. And then as you layer onto this, there are in fact strategies, and I'll give this back to Brad specifically, there are in fact strategies if you wanted to. And if you can create enough space, going back to that gap, if you can create enough space between your income and your expenses, there are strategies to be able to get access to that money in a way where it goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free. And with this strategy, which I'll give back to Brad, you can actually draw it out tax-free ahead of that traditional retirement age. It's just a triple whammy. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jonathan. I did want to mention, I love the terminology of putting money into a 401k is hiding for taxes. I heard that in my CPA's brain was like, oh no, that's not exactly what we're looking to get across here. But no, jokes aside, like clearly putting money into your retirement accounts and getting the tax deduction, as Jonathan said, is an extraordinarily powerful tool. I think that's why we really highly advocate trying to max out your 401k and traditional IRAs, 403bs, 457s if you're a public employee, because what that does is it gives you certainty when it comes to your taxation, right? It gives you the tax deduction in this current year. And at this point, you're in a more likely than not, you're earning more money now than you will in some retirement age, whether that's early retirement or a traditional retirement, when you will be making very, very little. And therefore, as Jonathan said, your marginal tax bracket, which is what the next dollar of income is taxed at. So basically, we have these tax brackets, and as you earn more money, it's always that next dollar. It's that marginal dollar. This is how you need to think about it. So when people say, oh, I'm in the 32% tax bracket, that doesn't mean every single one of your dollars is taxed at 32%. That's just not the way the US taxation works. It's not the way the tax code works. So what happens is you can Google just really simply federal tax brackets 2021, and you'll see for single or married filing joint or whatever it is, the first X number of dollars, let's say the first $10,000 is taxed at 10%. And then the next X number of dollars is taxed at 12%. And it keeps going like that. So that's how you need to conceptualize the taxation system. It's really, really important that you understand that. So basically what happens is when you put money into a retirement account that gives you a current tax deduction, like again, those accounts that I mentioned before, 401k being the most common, is your taxable income is lowered right off the top at that highest bracket by whatever amount you put into that account. So that's why that's a really, really powerful way to lower your taxable income now. So anyway, that's a very, very long preamble, Jonathan, to your question, which is, what is this strategy that you mentioned, which is really, it's kind of like ultimately the holy grail of what we're doing in the FI community. This is like the best case scenario if you could map this out. So it's called the Roth.
And Brett, I'm going to
IRA.
actually, I'll let you say it. Sorry, I'll let you say it out loud, but I would say the IRS did hide this strategy inside of 8,100 pages of the IRS tax code. They definitely buried it, but it is 100% legal. It is all there.
Yeah, no question about it. This is it's such a niche strategy that really is almost only going to be applicable to people in our community, but there's nothing secret here. These are just following the rules. It's just according to what we're doing, right? Like we are living this kind of countercultural life of saving money, right? Like that shouldn't be too countercultural, but yet it is. And that puts us into advantageous positions when it comes to certain things. And this is the perfect case in point. So it's called the Roth IRA Conversion Ladder. And Jonathan, we've talked about this on a couple of episodes going way, way, way back, right into like the teens on our 400 plus episodes ago. But in essence, this is answering Matthew's question of how do you access this money early? So basically what you're able to do is, let's say you have a vast majority of your net worth in your 401k. Okay. So you are, let's say, it doesn't ultimately matter. You're 40 years old and you've reached financial independence according to your research and the 4% rule of thumb and whatever metric you use to decide that you've reached FI. So now you have most of your net worth in this 401k, but you do have some money saved up certainly in your taxable accounts, your regular checking, savings, brokerage accounts at wherever you have it. These are not under any of these umbrellas, right? So that makes sense, right? It's just like a starting point.
Yeah.
All right. So basically at that point, you basically say, all right, I am not going to be working anymore. I'm not going to be earning an income. So that's kind of in our little example here. We're going to say, all right, you're earning $0. You've retired early. Okay. So your taxable income, let's say you did this on January 1st of 2021. So your taxable income for 2021 would be $0. Okay. Now, what you're able to do is you're able to convert. It's actually called a conversion. Again, the Roth IRA Conversion Ladder. You're able to pull some money out of your 401k and convert it to a Roth IRA. Okay. Now, a Roth IRA has a different type of character than a 401k. So 401k, you get the tax deduction up front. And then when you pull the money out, you have to pay taxes on it. It's a taxable event. But now you are forcing this taxable event in the current year and putting the money into the Roth, because a Roth is an after-tax account. Okay. So that's money you've been taxed on, and then it grows tax-free and you can pull it out tax-free down the road. That's the beauty of a Roth. So,
and to pause on that, just for emphasis here, it's what you just described is you're incurring a taxable event. You're saying government tax me, but the year that you're doing it in is a low income year for you. And so remember how we discussed those marginal tax brackets, you're falling inside those parameters. And so the government is taxing you, but it's at the lowest marginal tax rate. Brad, am I on point up to here?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. So, we're in this kind of hypothetical example, we're saying that you have $0 of income in 2021, right? You are saying, I want to create this Roth IRA conversion ladder. So let's just say hypothetically, your expenses are $40,000 a year. Okay. So, basically you need $40,000 to cover your entire year's worth of expenses. So what you're able to do is you are able to pull out $40,000 from your 401k in a conversion to your Roth IRA. Okay. Now that entire $40,000 is a taxable event, but again, you're starting at a $0 of federal taxable income. So now your taxable income is just 40. Okay. So now what's interesting is, let's say you are married filing joint and you get a standard deduction somewhere in the vicinity of $25,000. So that comes right off the top, and your taxable income now is only $15,000 because you had that $40,000, that's taxable income. You get the deduction for $25,000 and your taxable income is only $15,000. And now that's applied against the lowest tax rate. So your tax rate is only 10% on that. So actually you're only paying $1,500 in federal tax on pulling that $40,000 out and putting it into a Roth IRA. Now that Roth IRA can grow again tax-free, Jonathan. And now this is kind of where we're setting up this ladder. So you're going to do that every single year. You're going to make that $40,000 conversion. And the reason why you have to do it in this way is that you actually can't access that money that's converted for 5 years. So we'll talk about how you get through those first 5 years. But in essence, what you're doing is on January 1st, 2021, you're setting up this first year of ladder that you can access 5 years down the road. And then a year from now, you're doing another conversion that you can access, 6 years from now, et cetera. So you're doing that over and over again. And what you're doing is you're ultimately pulling out all of your money from your 401k and paying a tiny, tiny, tiny little tax rate on it. Like I said, you're paying about $1,500 in tax on $40,000, which is just a little bit more than 3%, right? So imagine being able to pull all of your money out of your 401k at a 3% effective tax rate. That is a remarkable, remarkable thing, and probably the single biggest potential hack in the FI community.
Yeah, and I think it's just nice to know, like, if that's what gets you to, because so many people use the excuse of, well, I don't want to have my money tied up till I'm 59 and a half. And I just think, I think if you just know that this is there, that's what gets you to start doing it. It's already won, right? You've already kind of won. Because along the way, we're going to tackle this 8 ways from Sunday. I mean, you're not going to just focus on this. You're going to focus on increasing your income, and you're going to focus on how can I start, once I've maxed out my 401ks, how can I start investing in other vehicles? It's just nice to know that money is not trapped there, and you don't have to be worried about a penalty, if you try to access it early. There's other rules that you'll start to become aware of that move that timeline down. We say the penalty is 59 and a half. In reality, there's something called the rule of 55. We've already taken 4 years off. I know a lot of people that are planning on doing work until they're 55. And in that case, if all of your money is with your current employer's 401k, or whatever money is in your employer's 401k, you can take advantage of something called the rule of 55. It's in the IRS tax code, and you can access all of that money that's in your employer's 401k without penalty ahead of the 59 and a half under the rule of 55. Again, without that 10% penalty. It's just yet another option that is there. And, I think it's important to have the mindset that we don't know what our life circumstance is going to be and exactly when we're going to need it, but we are going to need it. But if you wait 20 years to get started because you wanted to have a little bit more of a sense for when your retirement number, what it is and where you could have already been done. You could have already, if you start now, even if you have debt, if you put your mind to this, you could be on easily a 20-year path to financial independence. If you wait 20 years to get serious about this, then the clock's starting then. Why wait? Just start.
Yeah, agreed. And Jonathan, I just wanted to mention for the audience, if anybody's interested in learning more about that IRA conversion ladder, the Roth IRA conversion ladder, just head to ChooseFI.com/ladder. And there's a whole article here that walks you through step by step. Obviously, we did not go through every single aspect of this, but yeah, this is a really, really cool thing. So